Hi, I'm Vanessa. Welcome back to the Solena Global Living Podcast, where we cover real stories, real estate, and the realities of life abroad. While I focus on helping people find their place in their new country, the reality is you can't find a place until you have a visa pathway that gets you to that country. So today we're talking about Spain and Spanish residency with visa and immigration attorney Maryem Essadek. Mariam is my go-to immigration resource for people who are relocating to Spain. You got to talk to her first and go through the process before I can help you settle into your future home. Today, we're going to break down the most common visa pathways and talk about some of the red flags and roadblocks that applicants might face so that you can avoid them. I will include a link to schedule an initial consultation with Mariam, and I highly recommend that if Spain is on your radar, that you make booking a call with her as your very first step. Okay, without further ado, let's get into the conversation. All right. Hi, Mariam. I'm so happy to get to talk to you today. Obviously, my job is to help people find their place, but before they can get here and find a place, they have to figure out their path to moving to Spain, and that's where you come in. So thanks for taking some time to break down the different visa options and what people can expect if they want to move to Spain. So thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's my pleasure.
Can you just explain a little bit about your background? What do you do? What is your, how do you help people?
I'm an immigration lawyer at our law firm, Marfo International Law Firm. We do help people to find the right visa. Then we do help them with corporate turf. We do real estate, and also we help them with tax.
Okay, perfect. So you're really kind of the go-to resource for people who are managing this transition into Spain, and then once they've settled in as well. So we're going to focus on visa pathways in this conversation. What are the most common visas, and how do people figure out which one is the best path for them?
Well, basically, firstly, what we need to do is to study their personal situation and then what they would like to do here. So accordingly, then we can decide what is the best legal options they have. And then we talk about the requirements and then how we can access and get these visas. And the most common we have in Spain is the retirement visa, the non-lucrative, that is ideal for those persons that want to just live in Spain without working. They want to get retired in the country. Then we have the Digital Nomad Visa for those who can keep working remotely. Student visa if they want to come to Spain to do some studies. And of course, then we have different type of visas if they find a company here in Spain who is going to sponsor them to work here. And of course, also we do self-employed if they have a project, a business project to run in the country. So also we do offer this type of visas.
So let's talk about the non-lucrative visa to start. What are the requirements to qualify for that visa?
The non-lucrativa basically is a residency permit that you can get if you can show that you have enough means in order to live in Spain, and if you have a health insurance. So basically, they are going to ask you that you show more than 29,000 euros for the main applicant, and for each additional family member, 8,000 euros, plus having a health insurance. So as you can see, it's a very easy visa to get because all the requirements, if depend on the capacity of the applicant.
Right. And what kind of income qualifies? So can you have rental income? Does it have to be like retirement income? What qualifies as passive income?
Basically, of course, if you have savings, if you receive interest from your investment, if you have rental income, so all this income, they qualify for the non-lucrativa. As long as you don't have work income, any incomes you have is acceptable.
Okay. And what is the process for applying for that? Can you do that from within Spain, or do you have to apply in your home country?
Unfortunately, the non-lucrativa, there is only one path in order to apply. It's from the Spanish consulate in your country of origin or where you have your current legal residency.
And what's the time frame?
Okay, so here I normally recommend that to prepare this process with enough time. I recommend to start preparing the process 5 months before moving to Spain. The application resolution is depending on each consulate. There is some consulate that they are more quick. There is others that they are less quick, but normally by law they have up to 3 months in order to give a resolution.
What are some of the red flags or roadblocks that people face when they're trying to come into Spain using this visa?
Okay, so the non-lucrativa, basically the red flag we can say is like right now we have a modification in May. So they are going to be looking at the average of income you have in the last 6 months in order to make sure that you did not inject the money in order to qualify for this visa. The documentation, there is some people, the legalization, they don't follow the right path. For example, they use notary, but they are not legalizing the signature of the person that used that document. They are just making a certified copy. So this is one of the mistakes we see when people apply for the non-lucrativa. And also with the last modification, like children older than 18 years old, if they are not healthy, dependent of their family, they cannot access with the non-lucrativa anymore. Yes, so these are like the more important point to have in mind.
Yeah, perfect. So let's switch gears and talk about Digital Nomad Visa. What are the core requirements for that visa?
The Digital Nomad Visa is a visa that allows people to live in Spain and keep working for their country of origin or for companies that are abroad of Spain. Also to show your work income as your financial support in order to qualify for this residency and work permit. It's a very interesting visa because here, in comparison with the non-lucrativa, you have two ways to apply. You can apply from the Spanish consulate or you can apply from Spain. So this is great. And also the duration of this residency, it can be upon 3 years. Of course, there is the commitment to show that you have a social security coverage. Either if you are an employee, it should come from your employer. If you are self-employed, then you have to get registered at the Spanish Social Security. But basically, it's a visa for those who wanted to come to Spain, who have work income, and they want to keep working abroad. So it's ideal for those.
And what are the income requirements?
The income requirement for this is 800, let's say, for the main applicant. And for each additional family member, we are talking about 1,000 for the second additional family member. And then for the rest, we have to add about 340. I always work with high numbers to not be in the limit. So I prefer like the applicant show a little bit more like this. We can show really a strong.
And can the main applicant bring adult children?
Yes, with the Digital Nomad Visa, yes, we have this option. The adult children, they can join the application as long as we show they are not part of as long as they still part of the family unity, if they live together and they depend financially.
Okay, so but what would be the upper age limit for that, would you say?
Well, in principle, there is not like a limit age. The only thing is like from 18 years old, they consider that you should be independent, that you should not keep in the same unit family of your parents. And then after that, then you have to explain exactly what is your situation. For example, the children, they are studying university, they live with the family support them financially. So yes, the difference between why with the non-lucrativa is possible and the digital nomad visa is not possible, it is because the non-lucrativa is regulated under the general law and the digital nomad visa is regulated under the special law. So they have different criteria.
And so I love that you can come to Spain, have all your paperwork, and apply when come on a tourist visa, apply for digital nomad. But it also seems a little bit scary, right? So you've sold everything in your home country, you show up. Are there any risks that you won't qualify? That if you meet the income requirements and you've done the paperwork correctly, is there any chance that you could show up and in 90 days end up having to overstay your visa or return to your home country?
Okay, so of course I do leave this with my clients, because it's very scary, as you said. Sometimes people they sell their house before coming. So this is why before coming to Spain to apply for the digital nomad visa, you need to make sure that you really meet the criteria. Okay, you make sure that you have all the documents that are requested by the Spanish administration, and then you prepare everything. And then of course there is the paperwork that you need to follow. But I always say, like, digital nomad visa is ABCD. If you meet all these criteria, you should not have any problem. Then of course you need to respect the diligence of the process. And also once you get the digital nomad visa, if you are one of those who are committed to register at the Spanish Social Security, you need to complete that, because otherwise you can face the cancellation of your digital nomad visa. So and also there is, like, if people they feel uncomfortable to come directly to Spain and without knowing that the visa is going to be approved or not, and if they are a big family. So always there is the opportunity that like the main applicant come, he or she submit application and for the whole family, and then in 20 working days, because we have only a very short time to get a resolution from the UGE, that is 20 working days. And then for sure you are going to know if your visa is going to be approved or not. And then you can take a very, very secure path to move to Spain. But in principle, as I said, we really have very good experience. Many of our clients sometimes they move here and then we submit the application and everything is done. Because as long as I said, if we make sure that we have what is needed, we have the income, we confirm that the company is existing for more than 1 year, there is the authorization from the company. So in principle, we are safe to get this visa.
Right. Well, and this is a really key point. So there are people who work remotely from the US who might think, well, they don't know where I am. I can just work from Spain. But you have to show that the company authorizes you to work from Spain. And that's a key part of the application process, right?
Yes, this is one of the documents that is important. The company need to confirm that for them there is no problem that you work from Spain. So because of that, this authorization is very important to get.
Yeah. Now, the golden visa used to be a very easy path, especially for Americans. You sell your 800,000 euro home, move to Spain, spend 500 on a beautiful villa, and you have a pathway. That has changed. Can you explain what happened with the golden visa and, where we go from here with that type of entry into Spain?
Okay, yes, exactly. Because of the golden visa was canceled in April 3rd. They considered that because of this program, the local people were not able to access to local housing. So they considered that like eliminating the golden visa is the right path. What I don't think so. So the golden visa was an amazing program because it was perfect for those who just wanted to have the freedom to come to Spain without limitation of the 90 days you have as a tourist. And of course, you do just an investment of 500,000 euros. You also has the capacity that if you wanted to leave, you can leave. If you wanted to work as well, you can work. You don't need to do any legal process in order to get the work authorization. And also was ideal for those who doesn't want to become a tax resident in Spain, because you could live in Spain, let's say for 4 months, 5 months, and that was enough. But yes, and unfortunately, the golden visa is not anymore available, but like we see that different countries in Europe also are taking measure in order to cancel their golden visa program or residence by investment programs. But of course, we still having the Non-Lucrativa, we still having the Digital Nomad Visa. There is also the ICT if you want it to be intra-company transfer. If you have a company and you want to set up an office representative here as well, there is also this option. Is not that much well known, but also is a very interesting program for those who own a company abroad and they wanted to expand the business here, or they just wanted.
Right. So in that case, if you owned a business, let's say in the United States, you could then basically open a satellite office. Is that how you would describe it? And then pay yourself as an employee in Spain. So basically, Spain wants your tax dollars. So they would want you to be a tax resident and paying your company in Spain. Is that basically how that visa would work?
Bueno, we have to point out that like normally Spain, the immigration office and the tax office are not that much linked as we may think, because normally once you make a renewal of a non-lucrativa or of any one of these, a non-lucrativa, for example, they don't request to show that you pay your taxes in Spain. The only thing is like they wanted that if they check in the system, there is no unpaid duties with the tax agency. Okay, but this has come up later. If you made a declaration and you didn't pay it, then this is something that can figure out. But this is like an automatic check they do. Okay, they do when you do your tax declaration and then you don't pay. So Spain, like this situation is not too much linked as it could be. So this is good. And of course, the Spain right now, we don't like the population less is like more and more is getting older, so we need to have young people. Digital Nomad Visa, it was a good tool in order to attract social security payers and also tax residents. But the interesting thing is like the Digital Nomad Visa, they don't request you to live in the country 6 months in order to renew, which is only a request for the Non-Lucrativa. So I don't know if this is going to be changing or not. But if a digital nomad visa doesn't require you to live in the country 6 months, or maybe you're not a tax resident. Of course, every case should be studied deeply. Of course, we are here just talking about the general concept of this law.
Right.
So also this is important. So
Yeah, it is. It's really important to understand your tax consequences because especially if you're, for example, I own a business in the United States. I can write off a lot of things in the US that is not how it works here. So you might be quite surprised by your tax implications when you move permanently to Spain. And you're considered a tax resident if you're here more than 183 days a year?
yes.
Yes.
Yes, if you live more than 183 days, you become tax residents, and as long as you are moving before 3rd of June. Yes.
Right. And so this is one of the things that I hear you and your colleagues talk about a lot is really making sure you study the tax consequences and that you make any large financial moves in let's say the United States before you become a tax resident.
Exactly.
In Spain. So if you're going to sell a house and realize capital gains, do that before you would have to pay Spanish taxes on it. So this is why having your team of experts around you is so important because these are little things you might not think about. You're just trying to get out of the country, move to the next, and you may not consider all of the implications. You don't know what you don't know, which is why having a great team of experts is just so essential in this process.
No, it's very important. Normally when I talk with some people, they just focus on the immigration side. Sometimes I have to stop them and say, okay, but first of all, we need to have a tax consultation in order to make sure that we have everything under control in order to not face any kind of surprise. So yes, it's very important to
Yeah,
double check.
exactly. And there are things that you can do to mitigate your tax consequences if you plan ahead, but it's really hard to undo things once you've made certain moves. So once you've moved to Spain, what are some of the next steps that you need to take to settle in? For example, your NIE, can you talk about some of those items?
Yes, so all the residency permits, there is a second step that once you arrive to the country, all of them you have to do your padrón, your registration at the city council in order to confirm your official address in Spain. And then you have to do your TA card, is your fingerprints at the police station. There is people, they are normally very, very scared because in the consulate they told them, you have 1 month to do this, okay? But there is no problem, okay? So it can take a bit of time because you need to find your house, where are you going to be living? And sometimes you are not sure. Sometimes you need to deal with many agencies till you find a property. So it's not something that you must complete in 1 month. Of course, by law, it has to be in 1 month. But if you complete it later, there is no problem, as long as you end doing your empadronamiento and your TA card. And the other residencies, for example, the digital nomad visa, as I said, is very important to do the registration at the Spanish Social Security. If you are a person high qualified, your company need to enroll in the Spanish Social Security and start working as an employee. Self-employed, of course, you need to do it by yourself, the registration as an autonomous. But yes, all the process has a padrón, a TA card, and then Social Security, depending on each case.
One of the things that really surprised me as an American, I'm sure this is pretty common, is your TA or your NIE number is used everywhere. I mean, you give it to the Amazon driver. So, right, I mean, it's just out there. Can you explain exactly what that is and how that's different from a social security number that we would keep very private and to ourselves in the United States?
Okay. So in Spain, the NIE number is like your identification number as a foreigner, is número de identificación como extranjero. So this is like the number we have you registered in the Spanish system, in the tax agency, wherever. This is like your number of identification in Spain. Is linked to your nationality, okay, and also link it to your passport. And it just link it to one nationality, okay? So that is like your number as a foreigner in Spain, is like your ID number. Me as a Spanish, I have a Spanish ID number. So this is why it's very important. We have to make a difference because also you can get a NIE number, but it's like a white paper. But this one is just is still the same, like your identification. For example, if you buy a property but you don't live in Spain, you have a NIE number. It's an administrative one in order to be registered in the Spanish systems. We have, yes. And yes, there is some, when you get, for example, the Non-Lucrativa, your NIE number is going to come with your visa, Okay, so it's not something that you need to get separately. If you are going through an immigration process, the Spanish administration, by themselves, they are going to be giving you a near number.
Perfect. So as we wrap up, what else should people be aware of? What do you wish people understood about this process as they embarked on the journey of figuring out their visa and moving to Spain?
Okay, so what I would recommend is this is a life changing. So you need to have the information before moving. Okay, so this is important. You need to make sure that you decide before which legal process are you going to follow. What are the documentation of this legal process? How this documentation should be. Not that the documentation need to meet some criteria. There is a validity time of the documentation. All the documents need to come into Spanish. Then you need to translate them with the right swan translator. Not anyone can make a translation. ChatGPT is not accepted for translations. Okay. So, and then of course you need to decide where you would like to live. This is, of course, I can accept that, like, you come, then you go visit this city, another one, then you say, okay, I would like to settle down here. And also, there is also, like, if you wanted to buy a property, I always recommend to use like a buyer agent or personal assistant in case, even if you're struggling to find a rent. We do also have a second company that its name is Charfor, and we help people to find properties, either to buy or to rent or invest. Is a process that involves many things. So as long as you have the whole information, then you are going to be more prepared for everything that you are going to be facing. And also be careful, because there is a lot of information in internet, in Facebook, and these people are, sometimes this information is not correct, is fake. So, and sometimes I have consultation where I have just like to correct the information that people they have, because it's not the right information. So always having a professional by your side is also important. Make sure that this professional is an immigration lawyer, that they are registered in the bar school. A competent price for a lawyer is also important, because that means that is a real lawyer, that they are registered, they have an office in Spain, that if you wanted to go to visit them, you can find them. The lawyer is not in Thailand. So this is like the advice is for someone who wanted to move.
Yeah, there is a difference between a visa consultant or advisor and a visa lawyer or an immigration lawyer. And you want to actually hire a lawyer. You don't want, somebody who has just figured it out on their own and is now helping other people with it, because
there is two important figures, we can say, because there is someone that really can explain you the process from their point of view, what is amazing, what is good, because then you have like the human and the social perspective. And then you have the expert in the legal, because the immigration process is not just a checklist that is published in the consulate office. There is also administrative law. And the administrative law is the tool that is going to save your application, and then that you can face the administration knowing all the rights you have and the obligations you have, and also the obligations they have to respect when you are processing your application. So this is important. So I think like the two figures are amazing, someone who explains you the human side, the experience they have, how is the integration in the Spanish society, for example. So this is an amazing. Then when we are talking about the legal options, of course, it's better to target the legal advisors.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mariam. And make sure that you reach out to Mariam. I'm going to include a link to book a consultation with her in the show notes. And when you're ready to find a property, make sure to reach out to me as well. Mariam, thank you so much. It was really lovely to connect with you. Thank you for breaking down all of these different steps and all the options people have. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. It was my pleasure. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. I help people find their place abroad by connecting them to my carefully vetted network of English-speaking local real estate experts, visa attorneys, tax consultants, and more. When you're ready to make the move, reach out to me and I'll help you build a team of experts that will help you manage this process in the most smooth and efficient and low-stress way possible. Until next time, keep traveling, keep exploring, and keep living the life you dream about.